Guitar intervals, C major, A minor, and related modes. This time looking at the A minor scale, otherwise known as the Aeolian mode, focusing around centering from, measuring from the point of the A note located third string down from the top of the guitar, fret number 7. This is part number 3. Remembering one of our objectives is to get all of our resources orientated in the same direction, making them as easy on the eyes as possible from the perspective of the player of the guitar, who is of course located behind the guitar. Therefore, for example, my guitar will look like I'm playing left-handed, but no, we just flipped it around to mirror your perspective from your guitar from behind the guitar. When we are behind the guitar, we've got the fretboard on our left-hand side. We've got the low or heavy string, the one closest to the ceiling up top, left to right going towards the body of the guitar. Similarly, our worksheet organized this being or representing the low or heavy string, the one closest to the ceiling, top to bottom, left to right, orientated as though we just took the guitar and imprinted the strings on the screen. We're going to be continuing on now, measuring from this A note, and then construct the Aeolian mode, which can also be thought of as, of course, the minor scale. As we do that, we just want to reiterate in our mind how it relates to the other modes. So let's just do a quick recap. We're going to scroll up. We've got the C major scale or the Ionian mode. This is our major point of reference. Typically, we're looking at one of the most common shapes for people. I'm going to call it shape number 1. You could call it a G shape if it was on a C major scale, because you could see the G shape here being constructed in this area of the guitar. So that would be the pentatonic. There's the 7-note shape. Now remember, we could move that shape around and play it in different areas. But what I'm doing is taking all of those notes, which basically make up the scale, the scale for an A minor, if you go from A to A, which is natural to do, and applying all those notes across the entire guitar. So the shape is now being spread out through the entire guitar for those basic notes, noting that I could then start on any other note, and that would basically be playing any of these related modes. That's the idea. Now the C mode, or the Ionian mode, which is the major mode, is the primary mode we use as reference. Therefore, I'm going to name all the other modes based on the primary major mode, which we call the Ionian mode, major scale. So I'm going to call the Ionian or major scale mode 1, Dorian mode 2, Phrygian mode 3, Lydian mode 4, Mixolydian mode 5, Aeolian mode 6, Locrian mode 7. That could be useful because once I know the notes in a scale, I want to build chords from them. And the major differentiating factor from a triad chord, 3-note chord, is the third. So the question is, do I build a major chord or a minor chord? We start to memorize from the perspective of the Ionian or major scale that the 1, 4, 5, the blues kind of progressions, has a major scale. The 2, 3, and 6 has a minor, and the Locrian's that weird one with a flat 5th and a minor 3rd on the 7th. So that's good to know, but it would be better for me to know the actual intervals of the entire mode, because then I not only know the 1, 3, 5 and whether the 3 is there to construct a major or minor chord from every note within the scale, but I also know all the other notes that I could construct from to build a chord, the 7, 9, 11, and 13, otherwise known as the 7, 2, 6, 2, 4, and 6, right? So that's going to be what we're kind of working on here. So how do we do that? Well, I think it's easiest to think about the intervals for the major scale and then look at the intervals for the main minor scale, which is what we're doing now, which is the Aeolian mode, otherwise known as the minor scale, and then compare the other modes to its related major or minor. The ones that have a minor third, the 2 and the 3, Dorian and Phrygian, can be compared to the main minor, and they will only have one interval difference. The other two main major scales that make a major chord, they have a major third in them and therefore are a major mode. The 4 and the 5, Lydian and Mixolydian, can be compared to the Ionian. So let's just take a quick look at the intervals again, and then we'll go down to our Aeolian and continue from there, mapping this same shape around this A note. So we've got the Ionian scale, major scale, has a 0 note away perfect first, a 2 note away major second, a 4 note away major third, a 5 note away perfect fourth, 7 note away perfect fifth, 9 note away major sixth, 11 note away major seven. What would we expect if we go to the minor mode, the one that in theory you would think would be as different from the major mode as possible, the main minor, the Aeolian minor scale? You would think that the perfects would remain the same, the perfect fourth and fifth, and the ones that have a major would be flattened to a minor. And that is true except for the second, which for whatever reason is still a 2 note away major second. It's the Phrygian mode, another minor mode that's more minor than the main minor, which actually has a minor second in it as its distinctive interval between it and its related minor or main minor scale, the Aeolian mode. All right, that given, let's go down and to the minor scale. Now we've made Aeolian, which I'm going to call from an absolute modal standpoint as we compare to the major mode, mode number 6, which is a minor mode, and then I'm going to make it the 1 as we think about our relative positions, right? So it's the 6th mode, but I'm going to say now when we think about the modes, we're going to look at the positions as though it's the 1, right? 1 through 7, and we just put the A now is going to be the 1. If we look at the intervals from that A, we have what we would expect on the first, a 0 note away perfect first. That's, of course, always going to be the same. There's that funny one, a 2 note away major second. You would think we would flat it to a 1 note away minor second, but no, not on the Aeolian. Here's the big one, the 3 note away minor third as opposed to a 4 note away major third. We flattened the third. That's the distinctive characteristic to make something a minor chord as well as a minor mode or a minor scale. And then we have the 5 note away perfect fourth. The perfects are the same. It was the same in the major, same in the minor. And now we're going to be looking at the 7 note away perfect fifth, also the same in the major and the minor. And then we've got the 8 note away minor 6, which has been flattened from the major, which was a 9 note away major 6. And we have a 10 note away minor 7, which has been flattened from the 11 note away major 7. All right, so now we're going to go on to the 7 note away perfect fifth, which is where we left off last time, noting that it's the 5th position. That's what this perfect fifth means. It's the 5th position. This 7 is telling me that it's 7 notes away. So if you counted it up on a piano, including the black notes and the white notes being half steps, it would be 7 notes away. So that's going to be the idea now, because it's a odd number. And in chord constructions, we skip every other note of the scale. It's also going to be named the same from a chord construction. The 1, 3, 5. The 5 is part of the major triad construction and minor triad construction. It's a main note in triads, whether you're talking about a major or minor, but it's not the distinctive note. It's in both the major and minor triad, that interval. Therefore, it's ambiguous. So we're going to see it all the time, because this note, we've seen it within all the modes. We have this perfect fifth. It's going to come up all the time, and it's going to be more recognizable or possibly more useful than the perfect fourth, which is also in the major and minor scales. Why? Because it's part of the triad construction. It's part of the normal triad in both the major and minor scales. So we're going to see it all the time, and we want to know it. One reason it's useful to know is because notice that if I go to any other mode and I know I know the shape of the mode, and I'm like, okay, I know all the notes that are in the mode because I know the shape. Then the question is, well, I could build a chord from any of the notes in that shape. And of course, the problem is when I want to build a basic triad chord, or the main thing, right? That's what we normally want to do as a triad. We don't know what the third is, because that's going to be the question. It's going to be either a major third or a minor third, depending on our starting point. And we usually memorize that from the perspective of the major scale, knowing that the 1, 4, 5 is major, and that means that the 2, 3, and 6 is minor, and the 7's the funny one. But I might not know that if I'm in Aeolian mode or some other mode. But what I do know is that the fifth is good whether it's a major chord or a minor chord. That's why it's the power chord construction. So I can almost always add a fifth to any note that's in the scale, and I'm good to go. I can add a little bit more flavor to it, even though it's still ambiguous as to whether it's a major chord or a minor chord. The only one I can't add a normal fifth to is the Locrian, which is now on the second because it has a flat fifth. So 6 out of the 7 in every mode, basically, in every mode, we can take whatever note is there and add a fifth, and we're safe, right? That'd be good to do. We're still in the scale. So that's useful to know. Also, just remember that in the Aeolian mode, when we're trying to build the chords and say, how do we build the chords? Well, we still have the 1, 4, 5 happen to now be in a minor kind of blues. Those are the minor chords. And then it's a little wonky that the 2 happens to be the Locrian one, the weird one. And that means that the rest of them, which is going to be the 3 and the 6 and the 7, are going to be the major chords. They're going to have a major third when I build a chord on it. All right, so let's go around this one. So let's say we're going to go up 1 and say, where are all the fifths around this string? Because that's always a safe interval. So if I go, let's go on the same string first. 7 notes away, that's too far to reach. So I'm going to look for the inverse distance. I can't really reach it going up this way because it's 7 notes up. That's quite a ways. So maybe I go behind it. If it's 7 notes one way, 12 minus 7 is going to be 5. So I go 5 notes back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there it is there. So if I go 5 notes back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if I went from here to here, the E to A, that would be a 5 note away perfect fourth. But the inverse then, of course, going from A to E is a 7 note away perfect fifth. So there's that one. All right, let's go above it, and I can see it right there. So if I go above it, and I'm looking for a 7 note away perfect fifth, I have to look for the inverse distance whenever I'm going above the string. So that's going to be 12 minus 7, which is 5. So that means if I go up just 1 fret, there's a 5 note distance between the strings. So that's going to be right there. So if I just go up 1, 5 note distance. So if I went from top to bottom, the E to the A, that would be a 5 note away perfect fourth. And therefore from the bottom to the top, 7 note away perfect fifth. All right, let's go up 2 strings and we can see we're going to be out here. If I go up 2 strings, it's going to be -5, -10, and then if I go this way, I'm going to go back towards 0. So -5, -10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So it's a 5 note distance for the inverse distance. Let's count it up here. -5, -10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. So from here to here, top to bottom, E to A would be a 7 note away, would be a 5 note away perfect fourth. But from bottom to top would be a 7 note away perfect fifth. So I should go, and so that means if I go up 2 strings, the 7 note away perfect fifth will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets forward, unless I cross the fault line, which would happen on either of these 2 bottom strings. Let's say we picked this A here, and if we go up 2 strings, it would be right there. So if I go up 2 strings, the 7 note away perfect fifth will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets forward, unless I'm on the bottom 2 strings, in which case, because this tectonic plate shifted to the right, if I go up 2 strings, it's going to be a lesser distance. So if I go up 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 7 note away perfect fifth is only 4 frets forward. Let's do that quick analysis on this one because we skipped it. If I go up 1 string, the 7 note away perfect fifth is on the same fret unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on the B string. So if I was on that string, then because this tectonic plate shifted to the right, then it's going to be back here. So if I go up 1 string, the 7 note away perfect fifth will be on the same fret unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on the B string, in which case If I go up one string and cross the fault line, the 7-note away perfect fifth will be 1 fret back. Okay, let's go down a string. So there we have it there. So now we're going to go down a string, and we're looking for a 7-note away perfect fifth. We don't need to look for the inverse distance. We could just count it out. 5 notes between the string, 6, 7. So I can count it out this way. 5 notes between the string, 6, 7. So that's going to be the normal power chord type shape you might recognize. Whoops. What? So that one's possibly the most common one that we see, that you might see. And notice when you're doing that kind of power chord kind of thing, I can mute the string above it. So I can get a little bit more aggressive with the power chords if I practice the muting techniques. But so there we have that. So that means that the 7-note away perfect fifth, if I go down one string, will be 2 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on the G string, in which case, because this tectonic plate moved forward, it's going to be a longer distance. So the rule is, if I go down 2 strings, the 7-note away perfect fifth will be 2 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which only happens on the G string, in which case if I go down, it could happen on the G string, or I'm going down one string. What happened here? What am I doing? This one is right there. Unless I'm on the G string, in which case if I go down one string and cross the fault line, the 7-note away perfect fifth will be 3 frets forward. All right? And so let's go down to the next one. It's going to be back here. So now I'm going down 2 strings and crossing the fault line. So it's going to be 5, 10 as we cross the fault line, 9, 8, 7. Let's count it out here. So it's going to be 5 and then 10 up here, 9, 8, 7. So that means if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 7-note away perfect fifth will be back 2 frets. So, but what if I didn't cross the fault line? If I was on either the E or the A strings, I wouldn't cross the fault line. So if I picked up this A and went down 2 strings, it would be right here, still haven't crossed the fault line. So it's tighter when I cross the fault line. It's a little bit less of a reach because, of course, this tectonic plate moved up if I'm measuring from here. If I'm measuring from here, then if I go down 2 strings, the 7-note away perfect fifth will normally be 1, 2, will be 3 frets back, unless I cross the fault line, which would happen on either the D or the G string, in which case if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 7-note away perfect fifth will be 2 frets back. All right, and then let's go down to the last one, which is the big reach. So if I go down 3 strings and cross the fault line, it's going to be 5 here, crossing the fault line to 10 up here, and then 15 to here. 15 minus 12 brings me back down to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so we can count that up here. We could say this is going to be 5, and then up here to 10, 15. 15 minus 12 is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So from here to here. So there it is. I could also say, well, why don't I count it up this way? It might be shorter because it's only a couple strings up. If I did that, I'd have to take the inverse distance. I'm looking for the 7-note away perfect fifth on the top string. So once again, we'd say, well, that means that I have to take the inverse. 12 minus 7 is 5. And so I'd say -5, -10, and then -5, -10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. And that E is also represented down here. So if I go down 3 strings and cross the fault line, the 7-note away perfect fifth is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets forward. What if I don't cross the fault line, which could only happen on the top string, in which case if I go down 1, 2, 3 strings, then, wait a sec, if I go down 3 strings, there it is. So the rule is if I go down 3 strings, the 7-note away perfect fifth will be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which would happen 2 out of 3 times that I could go down 3 strings. And in that case, if I go down 3 strings and cross the fault line, the 7-note away perfect fifth will be 5 frets forward. So that makes perfect sense. Okay. All right. Let's try a joke before going to the next one here. All right. You know what? I've been looking into the people working out and stuff, trying to stay in shape and whatnot. And like, I've decided that I want to be a history buff. I want to be a history buff, you know? Because back in the day, people weren't yoked up buff like the gym bros often are these days, you know? They were like in shape, but not totally jacked. Possibly because it was a time before the protein shake. I'm guessing it's before the protein shakes. So that's what I try to do. I'm totally looking to be a history buff person, because I still think that's, you know, it's kind of strong, but not like crazy, like you feel like the muscles are going to get in your way or something, because they seem it's like too much, you know. So I'm looking to be a history buff person. Okay. Let's go on to the next one here. We're on the 8-note away minor 6. So the minor 6 represents that it's the 6th position. Minor 6 should tell us how far away it is. It means it's a flattened, you know, major 6. So the major 6 was 9 notes away. Now we're at an 8-note away, the distance of a minor 6. Because it's the 6th, it's not in our normal chord construction when we make like the triad, because we skip every other note. So we have to name it differently for the chord construction, because we go from the 1, the 3, the 5, and then the 7 ends off the last one in our scale. So then we go around to the 2, but now we call it a 9, and then we go to the 4, but we call it an 11, and then we go to the 6, but we call it a 13 from a chord construction, if I'm not thinking about octaves, but just kind of going around the circle, as though we just go around the circle, and now we've hit all of the 7 notes, but we skipped every one of them and pretended that these were not even notes. Like, we're like, dude, those aren't the we don't like even notes. We only use odd notes. But it's like, but that's the same thing as the even note, because you went around the circle and you picked up the 2. No, it's not a 2. The 2 is not, we don't like the evens here. It's a 9. It's a 9. It's a ma'am. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, so that's how we do it. So this is gonna be a 8-note away minor 6 or an 8-note away minor 13. All right, so let's say if I'm on this one, I could go 8 notes this way, but that's too far. So I'm gonna go behind. So 12 minus 8 is 4 notes back. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 notes back. So we're here. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I went from this F to the A, that would be a 4-note away, which would be a major third. The inverse of a minor is a major. Inverse of a major, therefore, is a minor. So if I go from A to F, that would be an 8-note away minor 6. Sounds like a doorbell. All right. So now we're gonna go up. Let's go up 1. Where's my orange one? That's the color I usually use. Let's go up 1, and we're looking for the 8-note away minor 6, otherwise known as an 8-note away minor 13 from a chord construction perspective. So there it is. We're going to say this is going to be -5 up here, -5, and then, oh, hold on a sec. When I go up, I have to take the inverse distance. So it's going to be, if it's 8 notes away, the inverse is going to be 12 minus 8, which is going to be 4. So we're going to say, where's my thing? -5, and then 4. So, all right, if I count it out this way, I'm here, -5, and then 4. So from, if I went top to bottom, that's our familiar shape of a 4-note away major third. But that means that from bottom to top, from the A to the F is a 8-note away major 6. So the inverse of a 4-note away major third shape, or however you want to look at it, is an 8-note away minor 6. All right. So that means that if I go up 1 string, the 8-note away minor 6 is always 1 fret forward unless I cross the fault line, which would be down here, in which case, wait a sec, not there. Could only happen on the B string. which would be right here. So then it's going to be shifted back because this whole tectonic plate shifted up one. So it's going to be back. Oh, wait a second. It's on the same fret. Man, you're just... Get your head in the game. Get your head in the game. Confusing people. All right, I'm focused. So that means if I go up one string, the 8 note away minor 6 is always going to be 1 fret forward unless I cross the fault line, which will only happen on the B string, in which case if I go up one string and cross the fault line, the 8 note away minor 6 will be on the same fret. All right, that was clear. Is that clear? Was I clear enough this time for the... All right, that was better. I feel like... All right, what if I go up 2 strings? Then it's going to be... Whoa, que paso there? What if I go up 2 strings? Then it's going to be -5, -10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Because again, inverse distance, 12 minus 8 is 4. So that means that, let's count it out this way. -5, -10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Hold on a second, wrong way. -5, -10, 11, 12. There's the octave. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there it is, way up there. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frets back, which means it's also 6 frets forward up here, just past the octave. Alright, so there it is on either side. Let me count that out. I feel like I messed it up. -5, -10, and then if I go back at -5, -10, and then -11, -12, back to the octave. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. And then I could go the other way. -5, -10, and then 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. That's why, because it's right in the middle, I went the wrong way and got the right answer because it's right in the middle. All right. All right, I think I'm... All right, so that's going to be... So if I go up, then 2 strings, the 8 note away minor 6 is going to be either 6 frets back or 6 frets forward because it's right in the middle unless I cross the fault line, which would happen on either the B or the E string. So let's take a look at this A, por ejemplo, and then actually, let's say we look at this A, and then you can see that that's going to be a longer distance because the tectonic plate shifted to the right. So really what we might want to think about is leaning up this way with the 6 as the default. So if I go up 2 strings, it would be here. So I think the default then would be that we would like to think about it kind of leaning forward because it's more likely that we'll have a reachable shape if we're crossing the fault line. All right, so because this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, that's not quite right. There it is. I was looking for that yellow one, caught my eye. It's going to be 5 frets forward here. So that means the rule is if I'm looking for the 8 note away minor 6, then if I go up 2 strings, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frets forward or 6 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which would happen on either the bottom 2 strings, in which case if I go up 2 strings and cross the fault line, it would be easier or more reachable to go forward, and we would only have to go forward 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets, which actually makes it a reachable distance. All right, so I totally butchered that. Let's try to do a better job on the next one. For crying out loud, you should just give up right now. No, I'm not giving up. I'm going to keep going. Just confusing people at this point. Okay, people will figure it out. We're going to go down 1 now. So if I go down 1, now I don't look for the inverse distance, but it's going to be just the 8 note away minor 6 or 8 note away minor 13. So it's going to be 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's just going to be 5, 6, 7, 8. Boom. So that means if I go down 1 string, The 8 note away minor 6 is 1, 2, 3 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on the G string, in which case it would be here. So you get this whole fault line pushed up. So the rule is if I go down one string, the 8 note away minor 6 will be 3 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on the G string, in which case if I go down one string, the 8 note away minor 6 will be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets forward. Okay, so that makes sense. All right, let's do the next one. I'm going to try to get to the minor 10, so 10 note away minor 7. So I'm going to try to pick up the pace. So if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 8 note away minor 6 is going to be 5, and then 10 across the fault line, 9, 8. Let's count it out here. So 5, 10 across the fault line, 9, 8, boom. So that means if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 8 note away minor 6 is going to be 1 fret back. What if I don't cross the fault line, which would happen on either of these 2 top strings if I went down 2 strings? So let's try this one and say it would be here. So if I go down 2 strings, the 8 note away minor 6 will be 2 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which would happen on either the D or the G string, 2 out of the 4 times that I can go down 2 strings, in which case if I go down 2 strings and do cross the fault line, the 8 note away minor 6 will only be 1 fret back. Let's do the next one, last one, before we try to get to the last interval. All right, let's go down here. So if I go down 3 strings and cross the fault line, it's going to be 5, and then 10 up here, 15, 15 minus 12 is going to be 3, 2, 1, 0, back to the octave, or 12, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. It's a long counting distance. Let's try that again. 5, 10, 5, where does it go? 5, and then 10, and then 15. 15 minus 12 is 3, 3, 2, 1, 0. There's the octave. And then, or 12. And then 12, 11, 10, 9, 8. All the way back there. All right, so that's that one. So that's the one that has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's right in the middle again. So I won't go into this one in detail because it's kind of out of reach again, but I could have found it by going up too. So you might have said, why don't I find it on the top string and then just mirror it on the bottom string? In which case, if I'm looking for an 8 note away minor 6, I'd have to take the inverse distance, which is 12 minus 8, or 4. So it would be -5, -10, and then -11, 12, 12 back to the octave. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would be mirrored. Here's the F here, which would be mirrored on the bottom string as well. All right, I'm going to try to keep going, but let's do a quick joke, and then we'll try to go to the last one here. This one's slightly political. It's a little old now, but still going after Joe Biden just because why not? It's just like, it's ridiculous. All the jokes that were passed up because of the woke media is just a shame. Like, we need to go back and replay all the jokes that should have been played from like every press conference for the last few years, and just like really just like say, hey, look, let's just this, we should have been laughing at this this is ridiculous. Anyway, the reason Joe Biden lies so much is because liar, liar, pants on fire means that the lying sets his pants on fire, and that's just the easiest way to dispose of his pants after he craps in them, right? So that he has to lie. It's like otherwise, he needs to dispose of the pants somehow, and so he just lies, and then like his pants set on fire, and then he just gets new pants that way. Okay. That was really dumb. I don't even know. I feel like I could have worked. I feel like there's something there that I could have done, that I could have worked around if I thought about it a little bit longer. But as it is, that was not impressive. But maybe I'll trim it down later. It's a raw idea of that one. Anyways, let's try to cram this last one in. We're going to go into the 10 note away minor 7. 10 note away minor 7. So this one is the 7 means that it's the 7 note in the scale, and the minor should mean that it's going to be a flattened major. So the major was 11 note away, major 7. Now we have a 10 note away, which makes it a minor 7. It is an odd note, so it would be the same like numbering in the chord construction, although it's not part of the normal triad. So we have the 1, 3, 5, and the next logical thing is to add the 7, which at least still makes sense because it's the 7 from a chord construction standpoint as well, although, again, not part of the normal triad. So that's that. So let's do that. So we're going to say, all right, if I go forward on the same string, it would be 10 notes. That's too far. So let's take the inverse distance going behind it, which would be 12 minus 10, or 2 back. So 1, 2 back, boom, 1, 2 back. So if I went from G to A, that would be a 2 note away, which would be a major second, but from A to G, therefore, would be a 10 note away minor 7. Now remember, this 10 note away minor 7 is particularly important for many, kinds of musics, including like bluesy type music. So it's going to give you that kind of bluesy feel, which is common in like a lot of American music, it seems to me, and in rock and whatever. So, and the reason it's on the minors, the 10 note away minors. So that means all the minor modes have it. That's going to be the Dorian, the Phrygian, and of course the Aeolian, which is the minor scale, the main minor. But also on the majors, when we think about the major scale, the blues major scale is the Mixolydian. So remember, when you think about a major blues and you try to add that flavor of like a bluesy thing, what do? You kind of muddy up the third of a major scale, blending it between a major and a minor, and you go from a major 7 to a minor 7. And if you go from the modal standpoint of a major 7 to a minor 7, you're basically playing a Mixolydian mode, right? And one way you can think of the blues is you're going from a 1, 4, 5, going from a Mixolydian mode to a Mixolydian mode to a Mixolydian mode, as though it's the one of the Mixolydian on each of them, but you're starting, right? That's one way that you can kind of think of it. Or you can think of it as though you're in the major scale, but you're throwing in the flat 7. So you're just saying, okay, I'm in whatever the major scale is, but I'm flattening the 7, which once again is this interval. So that's good. So it's going to be kind of important in that sense. So it's in there in all the minors, and it's going to blend the major into like a minor feel when you're doing, that kind of style. All right, that's at least my interpretation of it. I'm not like I don't have a degree in music theory or anything, but so take my music theory for what it's worth here with a grain of salt or something. But let's go up. Let's say we go up 1 here. So now we're going to go up 1. So I'm looking to go up, and I'm looking for a 10 note away minor 7. And if I go up, I have to look for the inverse distance, which is going to be 10 or 12 minus 10, which is 2. So this is -5, 4, 3, 2. So let's count it this way. So it's going to be from here, -5, 4, 3, 2. So boom. So top to bottom would be a 2 note away major second. Therefore, bottom to top would be a 10 note away minor 7. So that means if I go up 1 string, the 10 note away minor 7 is 1, 2, 3 frets forward, unless I cross the fault line, which would only happen on the B string down here. In which case, because this tectonic plate shifted forward, it's going to be closer. So the rule is the 10 note away minor 7, if I go up 1 string, will be 3 frets forward unless I cross the fault line, which only happens on the B string, in which case if I go up 1 string and cross the fault line, the 10 note away minor 7 is only 2 frets forward. All right, let's go up 2 strings. So if I go up 2 strings, it's back here. So if I go up 2 strings, I'm looking for the 10 note away minor 7, have to look for the inverse distance, which is 12 minus 10, or 2. So this would be -5, -10, and then backwards is going to go more negative, -11 and 12, back to the octave. So 12 can convert back to 0, and then 1, 2. Let's count it this way: -5, -10, -11, -12, or octave, and then 1, 2. So top to bottom from G to A would be a 2-note away major, I'm sorry, wait a second. I went the wrong way. Oh my gosh. All right, let's try it again. -5, -10, 10, and then 11, 12, and then 1, 2. Crying out loud. All right, I've been going, this is a long one here. We've been going a while. So from G to A is a 2-note away major second. From A to G, therefore, is a 10-note away minor 7. So if I go up 2 strings, then the 10-note away minor 7 will be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which would happen on the B or the E string. So let's take a look at this A, por ejemplo, and go up 2. Now, because this shifted forward, it's going to be a longer distance, right? So the rule is if I go up 2 strings, then the 10-note away minor 7 will be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which happens on either of the bottom 2 strings, in which case if I go up 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 10-note away minor 7 will be 4 frets back, right? 1, 2, 3, 5 frets back, I'm sorry. So normally it's 4 frets back, 1, 2, 3, 4, unless I cross the fault line, and then it's 5 frets back. Hopefully I got that right. And haven't totally confused anybody, including myself. I know I'm not confused. I know exactly what's happening here. Let's go down 1 string. Now we don't have to take the inverse distance. We can just count out 5, 6, 7, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for the 10-note away minor 7. Count it out here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So boom, top to bottom. So notice that's a typical reach, and that's kind of like the long reach, right? But it's like a doable thing, especially on the higher part of the guitar. So notice you can also see it like up, just to see it up here where it might be more recognizable. So if you're playing within this, what I would call shape number 1, in like maybe a pentatonic shape, then you can reach outside of the shape, right? There's the end of the shape, and try to reach all the way up to that G right there, to give it that minor 7, which is going to give it that bluesy feel. Almost sounds like a major blues, but it's the same as the minor because that's, you're throwing in the minor 7 interval, which is totally cool to play in the minor blues or whatever minor scale as well. So you can kind of reach out there, and that's, you might, and that also, I also used to think that that's only for people with big hands, man. But you could stretch your fingers out. Just work on stretching the fingers, and you can totally reach that. Most people can reach it. And then if you know, obviously this is a big, as you know, fairly big guitar, I guess, too. So if you're on an electric or something, then you should certainly most likely be able to reach it, I would think, if you stretch your fingers out a little bit. Although it's a little uncomfortable at first, but that's how you grow. You've got to deal with the uncomfortableness until you can do it. All right, so let's go down 2 strings. If I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, it's 5 and then 10. So let's count it out here. 5 and then 10. So So that's good. So if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 10-note away minor 7 is 1 fret forward. But what if I don't cross the fault line? What happened on the top 2 strings? So if I was like here, for example, then it would be on the same fret. So if I go down 2 strings, then the 10-note away minor 7 will be on the same fret unless I cross the fault line, which would happen on either the D or the G string, in which case if I go down 2 strings and cross the fault line, the 10-note away minor 7 will be 1 fret forward. All right, last one, and then we have to stop here. Let's go to this one. So enjoy this one. So because then we're going to end it. So it's going to be 10-note away minor 7, 5, 10, and then 15. 15 minus 12 is 3, 2, 1, 0, and then, or 12, 12, 11, 10. All right, let's count it here. 5, and then 5, 10, 15. 15 minus 12 is 3, 2, 1, 0. Octave, or 12, 12, 11, 10. Back to that G. So that means, so I can also count it going up. So if I went up, then I'd have to look for a 10 note away minor 7. Inverse distance would be 10. 12 minus 10 is 2. So it'd be negative 5, negative 10, negative 11, negative 12, back to the octave, or 0, 1, 2. So I could find it on this string if it would be easier and see that it mirrors on the bottom string. But the bottom line is that if I go down 3 strings, the 10 note away minor 7 will be, and cross the fault line, the 10 note away minor 7 will be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets back. But I might not cross the fault line like if I was on the top string, in which case it would be here. So if I was on the top string, so the rule would be if I go down 1, 2, 3 strings, the 10 note away minor 7 will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frets back unless I cross the fault line, which would happen like 2 out of the 3 possible times that I could go down 3 strings, in which case if I go down 3 strings and cross the fault line, the 10 note away minor 7 will only be 1, 2, 3, 4 frets back. There you go. All right, I'll try one more joke here since that last one was really bad. This one's not good either. I need to refine them down, that's all. Then they would be good if I just refined them down. But I just don't have time for that, man. No matter how hard I try, I can't draw a bear. I've been trying to draw a bear, but I can't do it. It just looks like a stick figure with a huge head on it. And there's no question, when it comes to drawing, it's just unbearable. Drawing is unbearable for me because I can't draw a bear.